Okay, so I'm sorry for the sweat. I've been rummaging around for like the last half hour in my apartment trying to find the book, Stephen King's It, and I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know what happened to it. I looked everywhere, and I'm breaking out. Couldn't find it. So we're just gonna do with the steel books in the back. If you haven't guessed it, I went to see It Chapter 2 tonight, and let me tell you, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Much like my last in theater review, spoilers will be at the end, so I'll give you a spoiler warning when it's time, in case you haven't seen the movie. So basically, what this is it's the Losers Club coming back, 27 years later, after what had happened, and yeah, and so you know. Just like the 1990 version, it's Mike that calls everyone and brings them in. The order's a little bit different, though. He calls. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember his name. Bill. He calls Bill first, and then Eddie, right? Ben, Stan, then Bev last. Which makes sense because of what, because at the end of the first one, she said she saw all of them alive. All of them in the future coming back. And they recap that at the beginning too. And she lies to Stan. Because everyone knows, this ain't a spoiler, because everybody knows. What's going on here? Okay. Everybody knows that Stan dies in the book, in the 90s version, in this version. Stan dies. He slits his throat. But they give a good reason for it at the end, though. And I'll get to that in my spoiler stuff. But, yeah. Just a little context. I went to this with my brother, my sister, and my 8-year-old son. And when we got done, we were in a car talking, and my 27-year-old sister was more scared than my 8-year-old son. I mean, she says he was scared, but I asked him. My son doesn't lie to me, alright? I don't think he was scared. I think he's a little horror fan like me. You know what I mean? I was more... There's a scene where they show a flashback of young Ben hiding in his locker from Pennywise. And there's a picture of Danny from New Kids on the Block behind him. That freaked me out more than Pennywise did. It's the picture of Danny behind him going. Of course, they did the trick where it just, go back and forth. And then it's Pennywise. But Pennywise is behind him. But yeah. I thought the adults gave a great performance. Bill Hader especially, alright? People were saying, oh, Bill Hader, he's a comedian. He's not going to fit in a serious movie. Yeah, he's a comedian. His character's a comedian. Richie is a comedian, so it works. And yes, he has some funny dialogue, but he's also serious when he needs to be. And yeah, the adult actors they chose were perfect. They looked like just what the younger versions. Okay, let me tell you this. Because this isn't really a spoiler because at the beginning, when they call Ben, right? I swear to God, I didn't look this up, but I even, in the theater, I'm like, oh shit. It was an oh shit moment for me because I realized who it was. There's and this was kind of my idea, even though it couldn't really happen, but, even though who was playing the older version of Ben, it's the guy from Lucifer, I think. He's from Lucifer. But even though who's playing the older version of Ben, they try to do a bait and switch or whatever. They show this heavy-set man in a meeting room talking to people. This heavy-set man, I swear to God, is an older... he's older now, but I swear it's the same guy who played young Ben in the original 1990 It. I swear to God that's who it was. And they tried to throw it off. They tried to throw us for a loop with that. and then they show the real one on the screen. He's on a video screen at home. One thing I did like, also not a spoiler, and they only did it with Bill, but when Mike calls Bill, he says, "It's Mike Hanlon from Derry." As soon as he says that, the place where he cut his hand starts to hurt. It only does that with Bill. Sorry, it's too many B's. Bill, Bev. Only does that with Bill. None of the other ones, but it was kind of confusing. They were showing flashbacks to encounters they have at It, but they weren't stuff in the first movie. They were new stuff that they filmed. I'm not gonna spoil it, but at this point, but new stuff that they filmed. Which, okay, I understand they wanted to show more stuff from the book or whatever, but why didn't? You don't want to repeat, stuff, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked the new stuff that they added, and it was kind of cool. Because there's one thing that confused me is they go to this fort that they supposedly had, even though we never saw the fort in the first movie. But then they show a flashback that explains some of the stuff. Yeah. So. Yeah. What else can I say? Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, excellent as always, just like he was in the last film. He did a very good job with this. Yes, there's that scene from the trailer, and it's in the movie, where he sounds like Winnie the Pooh. Even in the theater when he says, "Hello." I'm like, Winnie the Pooh? 'Cause that's what it is. It's a meme now. He's Winnie the Pooh. But, yeah. Oh, Stephen King cameo. I can tell you this. Alright. If you read the book, then you know this part. There's a ritual called the Ritual of Chud, or Chud. They call it Chud, but I've heard it pronounced Chud before. And they need tokens. Something that means something to them. For it to work. So, what is Bill's token? Hi-Ho Silver, the bike. As soon as he was walking down the street, I'm like, oh, the bike. Yes, he goes in, talks to the shop owner, and he wants to get the bike back. Who is playing the shop owner? But none other than Stephen King himself. As soon as he walked in, I saw him, I go, Stephen King. I know what he looks like. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Anything else I can say without spoiling? These are different. I don't try to go through the whole movie like I do my regular reviews, so I'm just trying to think. Anything else I can say without spoiling it? I'm trying to think. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. A lot of F-bombs. 8-year-old. Probably hears worse at home anyway. But, I did miss a part. I don't know if I missed much. It was towards the climax. But, we had to use the bathroom, so we went to use the bathroom. I don't think I missed much. While they didn't, I don't think this is spoiled. They didn't have the turtle from the book wasn't in it, but they still showed signs. Like they show like a little toy turtle or something sitting around. There's stuff like it's there, but you don't see it. I guess maybe the writers and directors, they didn't like that part of it, but who knows? Yeah. Can't really think of anything. Like I said, the actors were all good. Apart from, I thought maybe they misrepresented the character. But in the flashbacks, when they showed Eddie, he wasn't acting like he did in the first film. he was acting like Richie. I thought he was. I mean, I know he and Richie were like best friends or whatever, but I don't. I just think maybe he was acting like Richie a little bit. I don't know. I can tell you how this thing kicks off. If you've read the book, you know what it is. There's a gay couple. One of them is named Adrian Mellon. I don't know the other one. But Adrian Mellon gets attacked by these people who don't like gay people. What do you call them? Nazis? No. I don't know what you call them. But, bigots? I don't know. But they're attacked. They throw them, they beat the hell out of them and throw them over a bridge. The boyfriend tries after him, but he's taken by Pennywise, and that's what kicks off this whole new thing. Balloons fly everywhere, and that's what kicks off the whole new thing. And then Ben finds out what happened, and he contacts the others. So that's how it starts. Guys, I don't know what else I can say without spoiling it, so I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And, yeah, go watch this, because it's very good. Yeah, so, time for your spoiler warning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Spoilers ahead. So, give maybe some of this I can talk about. Stan dies, and during the climax, when they go underneath Neibolt house and stuff like that, they get separated. And they do the head thing like they did in the 90s one, but instead of being like a stand-up routine at Jeffrey Dahmer's house, it's kind of like it's Stan's head, but it's not adult Stan's head. Because in the original 1990, you gotta ask yourself, when they show the adult Stan, they're like, Stan, how did they know that? How do they know what he looks like when he's an adult? This fixes that, because it's actually the kid's head, the kid Stan. That's how they recognize him. It's like, oh, okay. There was something they corrected, or not corrected, but they explained. In the first one, Bev finds out that Ben was the one who wrote her the poem. And I said, well, okay, but then she kisses Bill at the end, which that's, Bill's gonna get married anyway. But, like, the one question I had in my mind was, if she knew it was Ben, why would she go to Bill? They had a romance anyway, but, Bill's going to get married, and he does. And there's something about his stories never having a good ending. I don't know. That's about it. Again, they go the route of he's writing a movie that his wife's in, but his wife's not British. And I don't know if that was just for the miniseries or if that was in the book. I can't find the damn book to read it. Because I kind of want to read it now. I can't find it, but I don't know if she was supposed to be British, but she wasn't in this one. And, so yeah, yeah, so they fixed that because, when they leave, they lose their memories. So she forgot that it was Ben, and she only remembers the kiss that she and Bill had at the end of the first film. She remembers it, and then there's like a scene where they all get separated. They go on their own little hell thing. Like, Bill sees Georgie, and it's a great interaction where you have the young version of Bill and the older version of Bill, like, face to face. Even though the young one is Pennywise, but it's I thought it was kind of cool. I was gonna do, if I found the stuff I was gonna put together right away, I'd remember everything faster. But I had to wait a half hour trying to find that book and never did find it. So this is what you're getting. I'm sorry. It's a little jumbled. Yeah, so they get separated. Everyone has their own little room except for maybe Mike and Eddie. I don't remember if Richie has one. But like Bill is in his basement, Georgie and everything. Ben is back at the fort and the dirt's piling up. He's gonna be swallowed by the dirt. Bev is in the bathroom stall where Greta taunted her, and it's filling with blood. And that's where Ben, you know, says, "I love you, Beverly," and she realizes it was him that wrote the, she remembers that it was him that wrote the poem, and that is that. They're together at the end. Oh, sorry. It's like 11:30. I'm recording this for you at 11:30 at night, and I'm hungry. And I'm gonna go get some food as soon as I'm done doing this damn review. I don't know what the hell is open, like Hy-Vee or something. But I don't want to cook because it's 11:30 at night. But I don't know if there's any places to eat at 11:30 at night. A Quick Trip, but I don't want to go that far that way. And the Hy-Vee. Anyway, let's see. Oh, that's my train of thought. I totally. So yeah, that happens. Richie. Okay, so there's this. Let's discuss this because I want to kind of think. There's a flashback that they show. Henry Bowers. I forgot about Henry Bowers. Teach Grant is great as Henry Bowers. And they show a flashback. It doesn't really explain how he survived it. They show him being washed out with all the dead children's bodies, which was lovely to see, by the way. I mean, sarcastic. But, and then he gets arrested. And he's blamed for, I don't know, blamed for the murders, but he gets arrested for killing his dad, which makes sense. But I'm sitting there going, what about his two friends? He murdered them too. And then it occurred to me they hadn't found them yet. Because, the car was down by Nebold's house. And he just came walking back. So, but yeah, he wasn't in there very long. And he didn't really serve much for a purpose. He stabbed Eddie in the cheek, which was kind of weird. And then, he attacked Mike in the library. What I liked is, all of them were actually together when they went down to face Pennywise. It wasn't like Mike was in the hospital and Stan was dead. Well, Stan was dead, but Mike wasn't in the hospital this time. They're all together. And just like in the 1990 version and probably the book, Eddie dies, which, I was like, okay, it's supposed to happen, I think. And he does, because there's this point where they think they killed it by, he takes the iron spear thingy, shoves it in Pennywise's throat like they did in the first one. And then he pushed onto a spike and they think he's dead. And then Pennywise comes and right through Eddie, and he eventually dies. And Richie is, struck by this, struck hard. So the scene I was talking about though, there was a flashback at the arcade where Richie is playing a game with someone, and they play the game. Richie won, and the guy's gonna leave, and he's like, "Wait, you're gonna go again?" And then Henry came in, and it turns out it's Henry's cousin. And they call him gay or whatever, but, and Richie leaves. But were they insinuating? Because Richie's supposed to, there's this whole thing where Pennywise is like, I know your secret. Was they trying to insinuate that Richie was gay in this one? It's possible. I don't know. Wouldn't matter anyway. Could have been, but they never discuss it, so it's possible, but it's kind of dropped out of nowhere. He doesn't mention it. And if that's the case, see, he cries hard over Eddie. Was he in love with Eddie? Possible. You never know. But yeah, so and there's the scene where, when they first get there, right, they have encounters with it. Respective places when they go to try to find their tokens or whatever. I think Bill, of course, he gets the bike, and then he has a run-in down in the drain with Pennywise, and he meets a kid who's living in his old house, and he tells that kid to stay away. Kid from the arcade too, they see him earlier. Stay away, and he's like, I gotta go to carnival or whatever. And then I'm like, that comes into play later where Bill goes to save the kid, and he's unable to save him, of course, and it hits him hard. He's like, oh, I wasn't able to save the kid, but yeah. So, Bev, of course, if you've seen the trailer, you know her scene. The old lady, Mrs. Kirsch, that. Ben's is, I don't know. His token was in his wallet the whole time, so I don't know why he had to go to school. That's one thing I thought was weird. Is his token was in his wallet the whole time. It was the page of his the page of his yearbook that Beverly signed. That's what his token was. Bill's is his bike. Beverly's is the poem. So Stan's is a shower cap that they apparently, it was established in the flashback in this movie. Richie's is a actual token from the arcade, so he has a memory. And he's chased down. They show a flashback where he's chased down by the Paul Bunyan statue, which was from the book. So they add that in there. They show part of the fire from Mike's flashback, and Mike's token is the rock that Bev threw at Henry Bowers back in the quarry when they were kids. Everyone, Stan, Ben's, Eddie. Eddie's token is his inhaler. And his encounter with Pennywise as an adult, though, apparently when he was a kid, he thought he heard his mom going. And this is the one of the questions that I gotta know, okay? Because they show a flashback where he hears his mom in the basement, so he goes down, and his mom's being attacked by the leper, the Pennywise leper, and she's attacked, and Eddie runs off, and he says later that his mom died a long time ago, earlier when they're talking about it, and he was talking to Mr. Keene. Mr. Keene asked about his mom. She said, oh, she died a few years ago. Did she die? Was what he saw in the basement real? Did she die there, or was that hallucination? Because they don't make it clear. He just runs away, and that's the end of the flashback. I'm thinking, was that real? Was that a hallucination? What's going on here? Hello? They don't answer that. That's one of the. That's a question I kind of need answered. They said that there's enough in Pennywise's mythos to do another one. I think if you do another one, you're just gonna ruin it, because you gotta come up with an original story for a third film. No, I mean I'm not saying this was all from the book, because I'm pretty sure there's, the Macroverse stuff was taken out, so but no, you didn't. You don't need to make a third one, please don't. There's only supposed to be 2 to begin with, and like I said, the actors did a very good job. So yeah, the one thing that confused me is that Bill's wife doesn't make any appearance other than at the beginning. You never see her. She doesn't even get kidnapped by Pennywise in this one, and I thought that was also from the book, but I could be wrong because I haven't read the book. Can't find a damn book. But I thought perhaps she got. I mean, she didn't really do anything in that version either in the 90s version, but still. Yeah, and people were worried, because the second half of the 1990s thing sucked, and it's not good. It's bad, but so they were worried that this was gonna suck too. But no, this blew it out of the park. This was good. This was great. I wasn't scared. I was letting my ass out more than anything because there's even a scene. I think it's supposed to be scary, but it made me laugh, and that's when Richie gets scared by Pennywise, and Bill Hader's reaction, whoo, just made me laugh my ass off, man. But yeah, the comedy was good. Some of the scares, some of the imagery was, some of it was disturbing, and I'm sure my son didn't understand half the jokes in the movie. When he's an adult and he watches it again, he's gonna laugh his ass off. I bet you anything. And I'll be an old man. I'll be an old 40-year-old man going, "Yeah, I told you." I'm not gonna sound like a. You'd understand when you're older. Sure, you won't be. Sure, be like a teenager, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, guys. Just overall, this movie was good. Like I said, I gave it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, go see this. What are your thoughts on It Chapter 2? Like, share, and subscribe, and as always. Oh no, I started to think maybe there was other things. How did they defeat Pennywise? I gotta put that in the spoilers, of course. Duh, stupid. And! Okay. Shit. So they defeat Pennywise. They try to use the, what is it called? The, ritual of Jude. It doesn't work. They put all their tokens in there, and this is what kind of confused me. Is they put all their tokens in a thing, and they light it on fire, right? Eddie put his inhaler. Doesn't that stuff, when it set fire, doesn't that, the pressure make it explode? I'm just saying. And Richie put a token in and everything. Put all their stuff in. And that doesn't work because apparently Mike lied, but he thought if they believed it was going to work, it would work. So they defeat Pennywise, and this, you can judge this. They bully him. They do. They bully him. But you gotta look at it this way. He's the villain. He deserves it. They call him, you're just a clown. You're just a clown. You're a stupid fucking clown. You're a clown. And he becomes a clown. Because they say earlier that he is limited by what form he takes. He's a stupid clown, and they reach in and take his heart out. And all together they squish it. And the thing just crumbles and he dies. And then there's a thing at the end where they find out why Stan killed himself, why he slit his wrists. Because he wasn't sure he would be able to be there for them. He wasn't sure he would be able to be a part of the team, and he thought it would fail them, so he thought it was easier to just kill himself. And I guess you see that made them stronger for it, because I like how they reveal it too. Is when the fortune cookie scene from the 1990 version, and you do get some of that referenced in there, like the chicken embryo. Yeah, that's in there, and the eyeball, which looks a little more CGI, of course, but yeah. But yeah, that scene. But when they open up their fortune cookies, and the fortunes say could, and they're could not cut it. Guess could not cut it. And they're like, what? They're trying to figure out what it says, and then all of a sudden Bev's sitting there, and she's got a tear coming down her face, and she's holding one that says Stanley. And it's supposed to say, guess Stanley could not cut it. And that's when they call to find out what happened to Stan, and they find out he's dead. But it's like, oh, he passed, is what his wife said. I'm like, he passed. Can't you just tell him he killed himself? He passed, I guess. But then there's the scene where Richie he's gonna leave town, but he stopped at the temple or the synagogue, whatever you call. I'm not Jewish, so I don't know what it's called. The Jewish temple or whatever, the Jewish church. I don't know what it's called. But he stopped and he goes in and he has a flashback of his of Stanley's bar mitzvah thing, and yeah, it was, Stanley freaks out and stuff, and that gives him the strength to stay, and he's like, "Thanks for being here, Stanley." So yeah, they defeat it by ripping his heart out, making him feel like he's just a clown, ripping his heart out, and smushing it. And then there's like some things at the end where Bill's writing a new story. He's talking to Mike. Mike's finally gonna leave Derry. One of the things I hated in the original is that after the thing was done, they started to forget again, and it didn't make sense. Here, it doesn't happen. They don't forget, so it makes you think maybe it was like some force trying to make them forget, like Pennywise trying to make them forget. Even though he tells Mike, bring them. Maybe Pennywise made them forget so he could keep killing again. And then figured, he wouldn't be free to do that unless they were all dead. And Beverly even says she's seen all their deaths. And Pennywise says, they're all going to come true, or whatever. And, she says they will all come true if we leave. But yeah, this was good. 9 out of 10. I've gone on way too long. What are your thoughts on it, Chapter 2? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.